Welcome to all. My name is Julie King, and on behalf of the Judy Black Memorial Park and Gardens, Conversations on the Green, and Shepaug Valley School, we'd like to welcome you to Conversations with Youth in the Community. Today's event is being hosted by Jane Whitney. Jane is the host and managing editor for the Town Hall series, Conversations on the Green, which premieres on CBS this spring. During her broadcasting career, Jane was also an NBC News correspondent and a nationally syndicated talk show host. Jane publishes a topical newsletter and works with nonprofit organizations that help domestic violence victims, the homeless, and at-risk children. We are absolutely thrilled to have Jane with us today. Jane is joining us with students from Shepaug Valley School. All of the students that will be participating in this discussion today are graduating seniors, and they're going to be talking about their senior project, which is service related. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jane, and welcome Jane, and thank you again for doing this with us, and I'll have you take it from here.
How could you not do this? It's the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of National Service, and we have with us eight difference makers who are trying to improve the quality of life for their community and the state. And I can't think of a better way to spend the day. So I'm thanking you, Julie, for inviting me. Thank you very much. Basically, what I want to do is just go through, because you all have taken on fascinating topics. And I'm going to start with Ava, because your project is saving lives one swim at a time. Tell us what that's about.
Okay, so my senior project is about raising awareness for the importance of knowing how to swim. I decided to do this project because I am a swimmer. I've been swimming since I was 7 years old. And I wanted to use the knowledge that I gained from the sport of swimming and just share it with other people who maybe haven't gotten the access to swim lessons or just haven't made knowing how to swim a priority. So my project has been centered around just teaching people some essential skills that they need to know so that they can be prepared for any kind of situation that might happen in the water.
I was really surprised and yet not surprised to see that one of the organizations that tracks these things said that there are about 3,500 to 4,000 drownings a year, and that it's actually very underreported. And a large majority of those are children who haven't learned to swim because their parents haven't learned to swim. You do these informational sessions. Do you try to include both parents and their children?
Yeah, so when I first started thinking about what I wanted to do for my project, my original idea was going to be just to focus on kids. But then as I started to do more research and I started to find out, there are a lot of adults out there that don't even know how to swim. And, when you're an adult who doesn't know how to swim, it can be very hard to kind of instill that in your children. And it's hard because it's a very important thing that maybe doesn't really get recognized a lot. So I, thought it would be a good idea to expand it not only just to kids, but also to parents, because that can be something that both a parent and a child can share, the importance of knowing how to swim and, possibly preventing a tragedy from happening.
What about people, the overconfident swimmer, people who actually think they can swim better than they can? Is that something you've had to deal with?
Yeah, that's definitely something I found a little bit more with people who, yeah, like you said, think they know. It's more about the technique of what they're doing. You could be doing something correctly, but not having the proper technique to go along with it. So technique has been a really big thing that I'm trying to focus on, and, showing the proper technique and how to properly do something.
How are you going, I assume that you're graded on this project. I don't know how that really works, but I'm not concerned about the external. I'm more concerned about how you would judge your own project to be a success. how are you going to decide whether or not your project has been a success?
Well, for me, I've been thinking about what my goals are for my project and what I want to achieve through my project. And a big goal for me, just personally, is knowing that I was able to make a difference, knowing that I was able to teach someone something that they didn't know, that I was able to educate someone. So it was just really about knowing that I was able to teach someone something that they didn't know and that they can now go out into the world and use. Like I said, preventing a tragedy from happening, knowing that I could just help even one person. That was a big thing for me to determine that my project was successful.
And what can people do to find out more about your project, or can they do something to follow up and help you in some way with your project?
Definitely. So obviously, like COVID has been difficult for everyone. It's created a lot of issues, especially with trying to host events and activities. But I'm gonna soon start to send out information about these swim sessions. If you want to register for them, that's great. Even if you kind of know how to swim, if you have a little bit of an idea, there's not going to be any like restrictions or requirements for anything. So I'm going to be sending out some emails, probably creating some flyers and getting the information about how you can register and sign up for those sessions soon.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Ava. We're going to go to Evan right now. And Evan, as you probably know, the pandemic has created a real crisis in food insecurity. There are 50 million Americans, it's estimated, who go hungry, and including 17 million children. And that's a problem that you decided you wanted to address. Why specifically did you choose food insecurity?
Well, I just find the ability to eat food is a very important thing. When in kindergarten, we learn about wants and needs. Wants are, what you want in life. Needs are something that you need to have to live in life. You need a shelter, you need clothes, and you need food. And to think that people in my community are struggling to have food is just scary to think about. And you're absolutely right. Since it's gotten worse since COVID, since Camilla's Cupboard, the nonprofit that I work with, they've delivered 250,000 pounds of food ever since COVID started to families in the community.
Your project is actually called Food from Leather. What does that mean?
That's because my whole project is a fundraiser in which people donate their old shoes and sneakers, and they get sent off to this company, Gut Sneakers, which is a shoe and sneaker recycling company. They do whatever they want the shoes. They can send them to other areas. They can turn them into rubber and turn them into turf fields. They do what they want, and then they send a check to me, which I give to Camilla's Cupboard. So in a way, it's like food from leather means like the process of from you donating your shoes, which some shoes are made of leather, or not all of them always are, but from donating in your shoes, it can turn into food, for more food for families.
And how are you doing so far?
We've done pretty well. I've probably received about 130 pairs of shoes from the whole community, which it's really good to see everyone helping out to try and solve the cause.
On the Camilla's Cupboard website, the woman who started it talked about how her mother, they were a very poor family apparently, and the mother used to go to lunch and sit with the other kids, and she had absolutely no food at all. Were you surprised by the scope of this problem, about how many people even in this area? I mean, we live in a wonderful, wonderful community, but have you been surprised by how widespread this problem is?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I never thought of my town really being one to have an issue with this problem. But then when we have all these cars pull up on our handout days, I see families that I know, and it just kind of shocks me to think that there's just people that I know that I've seen before walking in the streets in Milford that are struggling to get food right now. It just shocks me.
What do you think has to change? Do you think, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, have you thought you've clearly spent time thinking about this. Do you have any ideas how we could improve the situation?
I guess more farms could definitely be an answer, and just just kind of creating more food, if that makes. I mean, that's kind of a very bland way to say it, but if
No,
like
that's,
get more crops, get more healthy food on people's plates, so it'd help a lot better.
what have you learned about yourself doing this project?
I've learned a lot about patience, because because a lot of my project has been marketing. I've been creating videos and posters to try and promote people to donate shoes. And I wanted to create this one video since it's actually the one I linked in the sheet. Since like November, I wanted to create this video where I was going to get all these quotes from families from Camilla's Cupboard. And then Mrs. Chastain came and said, "You can use these quotes, but you can't have them say it." And that was after like 2 months. I had to wait for her to respond, because she had to reach out to all these families, and it was just kind of rough, because I really wanted to get the video done and I had to wait.
So patience, that's one of the things you've learned. Very
Yeah.
important, very important lesson. So tell folks how they can go find you and donate shoes. Do you have a website, or where should they go?
Well, there's two ways you can donate shoes. One is at Shepaug Valley School. There's a bin in the front entrance that has the Got Sneakers logo on it. You can just bring your sneakers in a bag and just drop it in the bin, and then I'll take it back to my house, and then I'll deal with the rest. Or you can contact me at my email at carlson@region12.org, and you can order a pickup where you can drop your shoes. You can have your shoes laying outside your house, and I can just drive up and pick them up.
Very good. We wish you a lot of luck on this thing. And now we're going to turn to
Thank
Jillian. Jillian, hi. You also are doing something right in your own backyard in Roxbury. Your project is called Helping Bernhardt Meadows. Why did you decide to choose that?
So when I was younger, I was part of Girl Scouts, and we would go to Bernhardt Meadows, which is an elderly home for anyone above 62 who's like low income, and it's an independent living for them. So we would go there a lot when I was younger in Girl Scouts, and one of my best friend's mom works there. So I grew up there, like I was there a lot, and it's so close to my home, and I know so many people that live there from like just seeing them in town. So I thought it'd be nice to go there like a few times and like help them and like hang out with them, especially when like they're stuck home alone.
So what are the parameters of your project? Do you do planned activities with them?
Well, so at least once a month I will go there, and I do have an activity with them. This month we're making New Year's calendars, and I wish I could say they went there just to do the activity, but they honestly just go because they like to see everyone rather than sitting in like their homes and everything. So I have at least one of those a month, and almost whenever I can, I do get them like dinners, and I get them little things like that. Give
Is everybody
each the
okay? I think we're having a little bit of an audio issue. I'm sorry, Jillian, maybe you should start that section again, because I think was it only me, or are we having an audio rocky connection? Okay, so could we try it again and see if we can maybe hear you this time?
Yeah, so I have at least one activity a month with them, and they all just like to come and see each other and get together, because otherwise they don't get to see many people. And then I also try to do anything I can to help them, because I do know they are low income. So I've gotten them dinners, I've brought them like cookies, little things like that, anything that can really help them. So that's like the main scope of what I'm doing.
You seem to have an affinity for older people. A lot of young people your age do not. They don't want to, I mean, to them, 30 is probably old. I don't know. What's old to you, Jillian? What is old?
Like, just because I've known so many people in town for so long, because I've gotten to know everyone, because I see everyone so much, I feel like I can't really call any of them like old as much so because I know them like personally more so, and they all act like they're still like goofy, crazy people. Like they're fun to hang around. So I feel like I don't want to call them like old, but like they're very sweet and nice. So I don't know if I can.
But what is it about, I mean, a lot of times young people don't want to hang out with people who are older. I don't think old is a dirty word. I'm 70, so I can't think that old is a dirty word. But a lot of people think that, you know, you reach a point and it's like a sell-by date or something. What do you think the misconceptions are about older people?
I feel like a lot of people see, like when they think like of an older person, they think of like a grumpier person, but that's like nothing like anyone at Bernhardt or any of the people, like any of the older people I know in town. They all are so nice, and like they teach me so many new things, and they tell me all the stories from when they were younger, and I just think that's like exciting and it's fun to learn and like to hear all these things. So
To be serious about something, the pandemic has taken a tremendous toll on people's mental health. I think it doesn't matter what your age is, all of us have been impacted by how the last year has really changed our lives. And nobody's been more impacted than folks who are alone, like some of the people you're working with. They feel isolated. And when that happens, they start to, you know, get depressed. They can anyway. Have they talked about that at all, about that phenomenon, about being sort of, you know, isolated by the pandemic?
So that's like one of the bigger things I have realized. So it's really funny to see because some of them are like they don't care as much about the pandemic, and they're like, I'm older, like I don't want to be trapped. Like they'd rather be going out and doing like the things that they want to do. So I see some of them more like that. And then I see others that are really scared, and like they're mainly just upset because they're not able to see their families and everything. That's the one like big thing I've noticed. That's why they do like coming to the little activities I do with them, because they are able to be safe and distance and see each other. But some of them like they don't want to scared about it, as like on them more upset because they can't see as many people.
Last question for you. What is this something you think you might want to carry forward into the future? Is this work? It sounds like you're just so passionate about it.
I think it would be really nice to carry into the future, because I feel like I wouldn't have realized how many people I do actually know there just from seeing them at work and things at Bernhardt, and just hearing them like come in to, even like when I'm working at the garage or something, they'll come in and they'll say like, thank you so much. And I can tell like they do really appreciate it. So I'm hoping I'll be able to carry it on, because see how like they like it a lot. They love having people there, and even just seeing like younger faces, it makes them so much happier. So
thank you very much. I think you'd make anybody happy just being around you. Thank you, Jillian.
thank you.
At this point, Abigail, may I call you Abby?
Yeah.
You are trying to raise awareness for an organization many of us have seen advertised a lot on television, the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Why did you choose that organization?
When I first started like contemplating what I wanted to do for my project, I knew that I wanted to raise awareness for pediatric cancer, but I knew that I had to choose an organization. And I was reading through some of them online, and I went on their websites, and the one that really stuck out to me was St. Jude, because their website is so advanced, and they really have made a difference in the pediatric cancer community. There's a specific rate that really interested me. It, like 50 years ago, the survival rate for pediatric cancer was 20%, and since then it was raised to 80%. And that was just 50 years ago, and it just like stuck out to me so much. And the founder of St. Jude, Danny Thomas, his goal was he was a very prominent figure in Hollywood at the time. So starting a pediatric cancer hospital was kind of shocking, but his goal was that no kid should ever have to go through something like that. And I just thought that was such a great goal to have. And it really just inspired me to try and be better. And I guess, just advertise that a bit.
Again, you've taken on an issue that a lot of people would find depressing. Children with cancer is a really, really tough subject. Has it been difficult at all for you to sort of become immersed in the subject?
Definitely. That's what my teachers and my parents kind of warned me about when I first said I wanted to do this. They were like, that's a bit emotionally like hard on people. So, and I knew that it was going to be this way, but I wanted to do it because so that hopefully I can make a difference, that no one has to go through it. But it has been emotionally like difficult, because I go on like the website and I see all these pictures of these kids who are struggling so hard, and it's definitely emotional. And there's a bunch of I've seen a bunch of families who it's really just weighed down on their mental health, and it's not just the kid, it's also the parents and it's the siblings and it's the aunts and uncles. It's definitely hard, but I think like the light at the end of the tunnel is that there's organizations like St. Jude who are making a difference, so that they're never going to stop until until the survival rate gets to 100%. So that's kind of what's keeping me going.
People don't realize that a lot of times that in any kind of chronic illness, it's not just the patient, it's the whole family.
Mhm.
And as you mentioned, Danny Thomas wanted to make sure that parents of children with cancer wouldn't have to worry about the bills. All they should worry about is getting their child well, basically, is I think the way it was put. Has this impacted the way you think about something you might want to do in the future?
Yes, actually, I'm going to pursue being a nurse when I go to college. So pediatric oncology has always like interested me, even though it's very sad. It's still very interesting, and I want to use this sort of as like maybe as a career, like an interesting like career path, like to see how I would do in like dealing with it. So yeah, I think this project would help me, like is helping me decide what I want to do later on.
So because I have to tell you, I think nurses are the most, teachers too, but nurses, the most fabulous people. They are just a breed unto themselves. They're terrific. And you're saying you had never, before you were doing this, you never had any interest in that at all?
I knew that I wanted to be a nurse, but I didn't really know what field I was like, what I wanted to pursue. And I think that like throughout this project, pediatric oncology is it's really opened the doors. Like I think it's just such a fascinating career to go into. So yeah.
And how do you judge if your project is a success for you in your head? How is it successful?
I think that exposure to the community was a big thing for me. When I was talking with my teacher about how I wanted to be graded on this project, I wanted her to to judge me hard on if I reached people. So like through social media, through the school, through the community, I really just wanted to get the name out so that people could have it in the back of their head. I think that's the best way to raise awareness personally.
Now, so you're directing people to the St. Jude's website and hoping that they give some money?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's no way to gauge whether you know how much money you've raised or anything?
I have a personal fundraiser set up, so I can see how much money I've raised.
So you have a donor link basically that tells you, that keeps track?
Yes.
Okay. And can you designate on the page to give through you?
Yeah, there's a link I have up that I can send out.
Okay, you should do that. Okay, you should plug that link. Get the link. All of you should keep sending that link out. Okay, last question, I guess. What have you learned about yourself in doing this project?
I think because this topic is so emotional, I've really found that I can sort of deal with the emotional bits and set it aside in order to pursue what I want to, like my goals. So I think I've found a lot of strength inside me that I didn't really know I had.
Thank you. Maya, you're up next. You're also dealing with a very, very difficult subject. And your project is called Feed One Person. You are working with the homeless community. What motivated you to go in that direction?
So my motivation was actually very similar to Jillian's. I knew that I wanted to do a community-based project because I'm a Girl Scout. And just this past December, I earned my Gold Award. And in order to earn that Gold Award, I also did another community-based project. I decided to pursue the issue of childhood literacy. And so I knew that I wanted to run another community-based project for my senior project. And so the question then became, what topic, what issue did I want to pursue and try to change? And that was when my mom introduced me to one of her coworkers, Patrice Moncues. And Mrs. Moncues was so happy to learn that I wanted to run a community-based project and introduced me to her organization and asked if I wanted to perhaps work with her and aid the homeless at the Dorothy Day House. And so I agreed to explore the topic of homelessness and see how I could help Mrs. Moncues reach out to that community.
I actually, through my own father, have worked with the homeless community for close to 20 years at this point. And what I found out is a lot of people have misconceptions about who the homeless really are. Have you found that to be true?
Yeah, I definitely have, because this is a local organization. And so it's similar to Evans in that this is happening right in our backyard. And that was very eye-opening for me.
Because a lot of times people think that they're chemically addicted or they're mentally unwell, when the truth is that for many people, homelessness is just one paycheck away. I mean, if they don't have that money, and again, the pandemic has exacerbated this situation tremendously. Definitely. It's been epidemic in this country, homelessness. So what is it you actually have been doing?
So I am going to be running a collection, and I'm going to be assembling what are called bags of hope. And so these bags are blank canvas bags that I'm planning on having my fellow students at Shepaug decorate with inspirational quotes and drawings and whatnot. And the bags will be filled with basic necessities for the homeless. So their top asks are things like gloves and socks and hats. I've also decided to make hand sanitizers and provide masks in these bags, and canned foods, things of that nature will be put in these bags and then distributed out to the homeless at the Dorothy Day House.
Where is the Dorothy Day House? I'm sorry.
My memory is blanking at the moment, but it's I believe in either New Milford or Danbury.
Okay, because I've heard of it. I just don't quite
Danbury,
remember it.
yes. Mrs. Youngblood just put it in the chat.
Oh,
it's in Danbury.
Downtown Danbury. Have you actually, I mean, do you go out and actually meet the homeless? I mean, have you done that? Have you gone to a homeless shelter? Or is that part of the plan?
That was definitely part of my original plan, but that's something that the pandemic has prohibited me from doing for the most part, but it's definitely something that I'm still looking into doing.
Because I understand that the pandemic would be a deterrent and it would be a problem.
Yeah.
But if you have a chance, I think you'd find that really interesting and rewarding part of the experience. What is going to be your standard for success for yourself in terms of whether you've achieved what you set out to achieve?
Well, I think that ties into the message that Feed One Person stands for, and that is, if you can't feed or help 100 people, feed just one. So if I'm able to help even a small amount of people in this community, if I'm able to provide them with the necessities that they need during this time, then I would consider this project to be a success.
You're the second. Abby was the first to mention this one person at a time. And I'll mention the anthropologist Margaret Mead, who I think most of you have heard of, who also was an old person at one point. But anyway, talked about the fact that many people think one person can't make a difference. And in fact, that's the only way difference is ever made, is when somebody starts and takes one step and does it one person at a time. And the power of that is always underestimated. So I commend you on knowing that. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you about, Maya, because you have a fabulous video, or they have a fabulous video on the Feed One Person website. It's about the 3 German students that go up to the homeless person. And it sort of illustrates the point that very often homeless are invisible. People don't want to go up to them. They don't want to have any contact with them at all. What do you say to people who think the homeless, I don't know, deserve to be out? I mean, some people think they, you know, they're lazy, or for some reason they deserve to be out there. What have you said to people?
You never know somebody's story. You never know what somebody has been through. And so to immediately judge a book by its cover is wrong. And if you at least give yourself the opportunity to branch out and, like you said, just be the difference for one person, I think that that can be a very rewarding and very educational experience for people. It's a stigma that I think that we really need to, and a taboo topic almost of sorts that I think really needs to have more light shed on it.
Thank you very much. Joanna, you're up next. You decided to help refugees. And this is again, a subject in this day and age. It's a bit of a hot button issue very often. What was your inspiration for going in that direction?
Okay, so my inspiration, my parents, they're immigrants. They migrated here to Connecticut 20 years ago from Mexico. So I wanted to know more about the difference between immigrants and refugees, because they're not the same. That's why they have 2 different names. So that was my inspiration. It was that mainly to get to know what exactly are refugees.
Could you explain for people who don't know what the difference is?
So refugees, they could be escaping from their home country. So they could be escaping from like war or like their rights, gangs. And then immigrants, I know my parents, they moved here to have a better life, but they didn't have to like move from their hometown. And refugees, they usually have to leave where they're from.
Do you find yourself spending a lot of time explaining that to people?
I feel like yes, because I feel like immigrants, they're categorized as refugees sometimes. So I feel like people should really know the difference, that these refugees, they have to leave where they're at because of their situation.
What does your project actually entail? What are you actually trying to do?
So what I'm trying to do, refugees, they can be from anywhere, like anywhere in the world. There isn't an exact place where they can be from. So I decided to focus on any refugee that is coming through the Mexican-American border. And so what I'm exactly doing, I'm trying to raise awareness here in the community and raise money to donate to Border Angels, which is the organization I chose.
And talk about Border Angels is headquartered, I believe, in San Diego, California, and they work along the US-Mexico border.
Yeah.
What do they actually do?
So they help both refugees and immigrants. So I believe they try to provide these immigrants and set them up, these immigrants and refugees, and set them up for their future here in the United States.
And so you're raising money is primarily the thrust of what you're doing?
Yeah, raising money to donate to Border Angels, but also I want to like leave my mark on the community, on letting them know like the refugee crisis that is going on right now.
Why do you think there's so much controversy? And I'm going to use the word anger. There's anger about bringing refugees into a community, bringing immigrants into a country. I mean, I'm making generalizations here, but you know what I'm talking about. Where does the anger come from?
I I'm not really sure. Like, I've never felt anger towards anyone trying to come into the country. So I can't really understand where like they're coming from. And it's not like I don't want to know where they're coming from. It's just I don't understand. I don't think I'll ever understand why they feel this way towards someone who might be different from them, who might speak a different language, who might have a different background. I'm not really sure why there is anger towards that.
This probably makes you better at doing this work. Is this something that you think you want to carry forward going, as you get older?
I know I'm looking into becoming an immigration lawyer. So this project is definitely helping me. It's definitely helping me to see other people's stories and how I may connect with others when I grow up, like helping them with their case.
All right, I'm seeing in the chat here that Wendy's noted that you've made and sold hundreds of amazing masks.
Yeah.
What do they look like? Are they can we buy those?
Yeah, so I have kids masks. These are kids masks.
Oh, nice.
And I know Mr. Croft, he's wearing one.
Oh, is this Mr. Obviously he's wearing, yeah. Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
And so that's primarily the way you're raising the money?
Yeah, so far I had a sale in October to sell fall inspired and Halloween inspired masks. And then I had one in December for Christmas and winter masks, which I know a couple of people in the Zoom, they bought masks.
And thumbs up on that. And how, okay, where again, did you say where we can go to find these?
You can email me to buy them because I hand make them and then I'd be able to deliver them to you.
All right, do you want to just, are we gonna get an email address at some point maybe, or would?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat so then anyone can email.
Okay, that's terrific, terrific. And last question for you, what is your standard for success, for a successful project?
I think my standard is definitely like knowing that at least one person in the community learned something from my project. So like at least knowing the difference between an immigrant and a refugee, or where if they like where they can help in the future.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Michael, you're next up, and your project is coaching youth basketball. Tell us why you chose that.
So the main reason I chose to deal with a project like this is because basically throughout my whole life, basketball has been, not only the sport, but my favorite hobby and just something I really love to do in life that I had a great passion about. And, I knew that once I got out of high school and, even college, it might not be at a point where I can play basketball, as a player. I can't really continue my interaction with it. And, once it gets to that point, I really want to stay involved with it. And I figured by doing that, I can, coach basketball because I want to keep it in my life because it's what I'm most passionate about.
Had you ever coached before you started this project?
No, I hadn't really dealt with any coaching, which, I thought of as, kind of a good thing because I had a lot to learn. And, I basically only had experience as a player because I've played throughout my whole life. And, through my project, I basically just wanted to, learn a lot about how to coach and kind of the knowledge that I would need to, be a coach instead of a player.
If you were talking to a parent who was debating about whether or not to let his or her child play basketball and you wanted to convince them that it was a good thing, what would you tell them?
I would basically just say, I don't think there's anything bad that can come from a kid, involving themselves with the sport, because I think if they just try their best and, try to not take it too seriously and have fun with it, they can definitely get a lot out of it. And, not only learn about the sport, but, learn about some important things like, collaboration, teamwork, and things like that. And, I really think not only will they enjoy it, but they'll learn a lot from it.
I was going to ask you the difference between what you've learned as a player and what you've learned as a coach. You mentioned collaboration and teamwork. Was there anything else that actually playing basketball taught you about yourself?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot about myself as a player. You know, it's kind of taught me patience because, you know, dealing with teammates sometimes can be tough, and, you know, you're going to face a lot of adversity, especially as a player. And, you know, that kind of carries out, you know, to being a coach, because you're still dealing with the same sport and you're still going to face most of the same issues because, you know, even as a coach, you're still part of the team, and you may not be a player, but, you know, you're leading that team, and you still have to, you know, contribute to everyone who's there. And yeah, I'd say that that's the main thing that I've learned from being a player that really carried over to my project and how I'm looking at coaching.
Do you think you're a naturally good coach?
You know, I'm not really sure because, you know, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but I think the main way I can tell if I'm a naturally good coach is just like if I'm seeing improvement with kids, you know, if they're understanding what I'm saying. And, you know, so far, I mean, I think I am, but I don't know, as long as kids are understanding what I'm saying and, you know, trying to teach them, and they can go and do what I'm showing them, I think, you know, I'm doing a good job.
I'll tell you one way to tell. Do you like doing it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely enjoy it. I really like working with kids and, you know, helping improve themselves.
How would you describe your coaching style?
You know, it's pretty basic and just kind of, I try to just be straight to the point. I try to keep it simple. When I'm describing something to, you know, whoever I'm teaching, I really just basically give them the outline of what it is I'm showing them, you know, why it's important and how they can use it in the sport, and, you know, how they're going to, you know, benefit from it. So yeah, I'd say my coaching style is mostly just like simple and straight to the point. And I really find that to be the best way, coaching. And, you know, I've learned that from playing and, you know, seeing, you know, the different ways. I've had different coaches throughout my life. And I think the best way that a coach is, yeah, I've really seen help me is, you know, by being simple and really just telling me, getting straight to the point, how to do something. I think that's definitely the main way that I've been able to benefit.
And do you see yourself doing this 10 years from now? I mean, is this something you could do this, you know, as a volunteer? You could do this as a paid position?
Yeah, definitely. Even if I'm not doing it as my main, you know, job, because it's not really, it's basically just something I really want to do on the side, and kind of something that I'm really just going to enjoy, because like I said, I really love basketball, and I think by coaching I can, you know, continue to stay interactive with the sport. And I think that definitely as I get older, I'm going to want to be a coach, because, you know, it's just something I enjoy doing.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I think Betty is our last project. Betty, you were born in Liberia, in Africa, and your project is called Mama Liberia. Tell us about your project.
Yes. So my project is about helping to pay school fees for children in my home now, which is Liberia, because there are a lot of families who cannot afford to help their kids' school fees, and they struggle a lot with that. So I'm from there, and I know how hard it is to attend school. So when I came here and my project and all of that, I decided to just
All right, I think
my project on that.
What I think we're having a little trouble with your audio as well, but I think that what you were saying and what I read about you is that what people don't know is that in Africa, a lot of the families are charged fees for the children to go to school and they can't afford those fees.
Can you guys hear me?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand her.
She said, can you guys hear me?
That's,
Can you move closer to the speaker?
yeah, I think that lean in, Betty. Is she?
Yes.
You want to try again?
I said yes.
I don't know.
So,
I think
everyone,
she'd like to try again.
we're having a technical issue with the connection on Betty's side. We will be sure to post information about Betty's project. We are recording
I'm
this.
still here.
She's still there, right?
Yeah. Betty, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Yes, I'm still here.
Dimitri's saying if she turns off her video, she might be able to have better audio. You want to try that? Betty, can you turn off your video and let's see if that's any better? Are you speaking?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, that's a little better. So you're trying to raise money to send back to Africa for those children to go to school?
I turned it off.
You turned the video
Yes,
off?
I am.
Okay, and how are you doing that? How are you raising money?
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
And are you being successful? Are you having some success with that?
The way I'm raising the money, I made a t-shirt. Yeah, I'm having a success with that. I did a t-shirt design and I'm selling them. Yes.
Okay, and I think that if we get some help.
I have it here. If I turn my camera on to show you guys.
Oh, okay, you have a t-shirt there to show us? Put your camera back on. Okay, stand by, put your camera back on. Let's get the video. There it is, hold it up, hold it up, hold it up more. And that's the t-shirt you're selling to raise money, right?
Okay.
Okay, and we should have a link for that, for Betty's t-shirts, because I actually saw they're very attractive. There's a whole selection that people.
That's what I'm selling to raise money. And then people can.
Okay, well, I think at this point, maybe we will have that posted where people can find the t-shirts.
And one of the other way people can donate to that, you can write like a check to the SVS.
You can also write a check. Checks are always work. That's a good idea. Okay, at this point, I think maybe, should we turn it back to you, Julie?
Sure, Jane. So first of all,
Can you guys hear me? Yes, so the SVS.
Betty's doing her own show here. Okay, thank you, Betty. I think we're running out of time here, so we're gonna make sure people buy your t-shirts. We're gonna get the link up on that, and we're gonna turn it back to Julie.
So first of all, Jane, thank you so much for doing this with us today. I can't speak for everybody, but I can say, as I was listening to the questions that you were asking and the way our students answered, I kept finding myself getting chills. It's really amazing to listen and hear about the projects that our students have done, and we can't thank you enough for working with us on this. At this,
Can I just wanted to say one more thing about this, because I think I really want to underscore the one point, and I have to tell you that, you know, we all know that this has not been the easiest year of anybody's life for a lot of people. And so to listen to the 8 young people we've listened to today really does highlight the fact that if you just don't take no for an answer and you keep trying, ultimately, you may get knocked down, but the point is, I've been so inspired listening to the kids today. And so I really just wanted to thank you again for giving me the opportunity to be here.
well, thank you, Jane. We do have one question from the audience, and I know we're getting a little bit short on time, but I'm just going to ask this question. And the question is for the students. What should we as a community learn from this collection of projects? What do you think the community needs to do to become a more welcoming, helpful place? So, Joanna, would you like to share your thoughts on that question? What can the community do to become a more welcoming, helpful place?
I believe that the community is already a very welcoming place. I don't think we need more work on that. But I definitely think that everyone should just keep an open mind for anything. And that will definitely, like, you get to know more people through that and not just sticking to one thing you may believe. So definitely, like, just keep an open mind. Don't, like you said earlier, don't ever say no. You never know what might come your way.
Great. Anybody else want to weigh in on that question?
I can say something about it.
Ava.
You know, like Joanna said, the community is very welcoming, you know. But I also think just this event as a whole, kind of showcasing senior project, I think senior projects a really good thing. You know, Shepaug is very different from other schools. A lot of other schools don't do a type of project like this. They don't really have a senior project. And I think that this event and just doing senior project in general kind of gets it out to the community and just shows how special and different senior project really is. And I think it's really important for the community to understand that and to kind of see the value that senior project brings to not just Shepaug, but to the community as a whole.
Ava, that's beautifully said, and we absolutely agree with you. At this time, what I'd like to do is I'd actually like to turn this over to Kim Gallo, our principal of Shepaug Valley School. Kim, would you like to say a few words? You're on mute.
That has to happen once every meeting. I'm so happy that it was me. Okay. Martin Luther King said, the time is always right to do the right thing. And you can see that these students sought out how they could help their community, how they could help Shepaug by performing their senior projects. And they've done such a wonderful job with it. I am so pleased with so many of the characteristics that they showed today. Their poise is just amazing. And by the way, what is old? Nicely done. Never answered it. Well done. Because I suspect the age would be right around mine. And I really didn't need to hear that on my day off. Nice job. I think your perseverance is amazing. I think one of my favorite moments from today will be when Betty said in the very awkward, techie way, I'm still here. Well done. Very, very good examples of perseverance. And most of all, their perseverance has led them through this difficult time in our world. Every single event, everything that they do, every time they want to connect with the people that they want to help, they need to do that through the veil of COVID restrictions. They need to ask special permissions and they need to make special plans to keep everyone safe. That is not easy, and they've done it, and they'll continue to do it, and I'm very proud of what they've done. What you've done today is to show the community that there's a reason why Shepaug hands over 20% of your senior curriculum to you as learners, and you work through those problems, you work through those issues, and at the end of it, you've done wonderful things for your community. I'm very, very proud to be your principal every day, but today is a good one. Thank you so much. And Jane Whitney, I really appreciate your willingness to work with our students and to showcase their talents. Julie and the PTO, thank you very much for all you've done. And Wendy Youngblood, thank you for being a wonderful leader in our senior project program. Truly appreciate all the hard work.
Great. Well, thank you, Kim. And again, Jane, thank you so much. And to our students that were with us here today, we truly appreciate your work that you're doing, not only to support our local community, but the community at large around the world. We are incredibly proud of you. If you all will just hold up your arm on the Shepaug Proud. We are incredibly proud of all of our students. And we just appreciate everybody that has come on with us today from the community to hear what our students are doing. Again, thank you so much, Jane. Thank you, Conversation on the Green, the Judy Black Memorial Park and Gardens, Shepaug School, the Shepaug Senior Project Foundation. For everybody that is on the call right now, we want to let you know that we did record it. We will be posting a copy of this video on the Region 12 website, as well as some other websites around town. And with that post, we will include links to all of the organizations that you've heard about. If you'd like to make a donation, it would be greatly appreciated in support of our students. And we will provide all of those links to you on the website along with the video. So thank you again to everybody for joining us. We truly, truly appreciate it. We're proud of this community, proud of our students, and just couldn't ask for anything better. So again, thank you, thank you. And we hope to see everybody soon off screen and in live. So be well, and thank you for joining us today.